Hi there, everybody. My name's Scott Ferrari, and I'm really happy to talk to you today and to impart to you some wisdom that I've learned over many, many years, actually decades, of studying and researching anxiety, panic, PTSD for one good reason, because I had it and I suffered terribly from it. I just want to say and start out by saying that I am not an expert. I'm not a doctor of psychology, although I did study psychology for many, many years in college and have read dozens and dozens of books on the subject of anxiety, panic attacks, panic disorder, agoraphobia, PTSD, you name it. And I've empowered myself and found these tools to completely eradicate all those things from my life for quite a while now. And today we're really going to talk about the 5 things that you can do today to completely wipe out panic and anxiety from your life, which sounds too good to be true, right? But if you take these things to heart and you understand, I'll give you a little bit about my background. I came from a childhood where my mom was an alcoholic. My dad left when I was 8, and we had didn't have any foundation. Didn't know if I came home from school if my mom would be drunk, passed out, some strange guy in the house. It was when me and my, I was 8, my brother was 10, and we'd have to, beat the guy up, get him out of the house. Crazy stuff like that. A lot of chaos, a lot of uncertainty. That just I didn't have anything to hang my hat on as far as the foundations that a more healthy childhood would bring. So I started out on a bad foot, and it got worse as I got older. And anxiety really hit me hard, and had my first panic attack 6 months after my dad died. In 1990, my dad passed away of a brain tumor. And within that 6-month period, I was held up at gunpoint by Colombians, tied up with my grandmother, myself, and my 2 friends. I was, my dad passed away, and my mom was diagnosed with cirrhosis. So it was all the culmination of those 3 things was the perfect storm to just send me reeling. And during the whole thing, I was very calm. And that's a very common thing that, during these kind of chaotic episodes, in chaos, I'm very good. I'm the best. I can handle anything. But it's after that where I fell apart and let anxiety, panic, disorder, and PTSD ultimately control me to the point where I was almost house-ridden and didn't want to leave my house, didn't want to do anything. My world just kept getting smaller and smaller, to the point where when I had kids, taking my kids to the park was like the most terrifying experience that any human being could imagine, right? That was back in my 30s. I'm now 53 years old, and I am the happiest I've ever been in my life. I have a freedom from fear, anxiety, and panic that I could have never imagined. If I could have gone back in time and told my 30-year-old self that, hey, buddy, look, this is me at 53, and I am so happy. I wake up smelling the sweet air in my lungs and appreciating everything and just feeling true happiness and freedom from all those debilitating mental illnesses, really is what they are. I'm here as a living testament to, no matter how you're feeling right now, especially in the year of COVID, with all of this, all of these what could be phobias or irrational fears backed up by reality. Those things just have made it so difficult for literally millions and millions of people around the world, because I think at some point we've all had that thought where within 2 weeks we could check out by circumstance, and those are just facts of life, right? So it's a very scary time, but it doesn't have to own us. It doesn't have to define who we are as people and humans, and we can literally be very, very happy regardless of the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's part of life, and you come to realize that through what I'm about to talk to you about. So that's, a very quick skim over who I am and my background, but Did everything from therapies to books to understanding, and it took me a long time. It's not just a matter of knowing about what anxiety is, and I knew it and understood it at so many different levels. I could have wrote books on it, years and years before I actually overcame my problems. And I really got to the roots and the heart of it and have a formula for success and for freedom from these debilitating illnesses that can really, what they say is that a panic attack could make the most fearsome general cower in fear. And it's true. Anybody who's had one, if you're feeling it now and you're dealing with it, at my worst, I was experiencing 10 to 12 panic attacks a day, full on, heart racing, thinking I was gonna die of a heart attack right there and then, convinced. So, again, those are the things that if I could do it, anybody could do it. If I could overcome this, believe me, you can too. And it's the good news, and I'm bringing the heat right now. So I'm going to talk to you about, there are 5 things that you can do today to stop panic and PTSD and anxiety in its tracks forever. And the first thing is to change your perspective. So everything is about perspective, and it sounds very contrived and cliche, and just change your perspective. Just think positively, and easily said, not easily done, because you're dealing with a physiological, mental. There's a lot of systems happening right now that are causing you to have this anxiety, this generalized anxiety, this panic, this fear. So let's get to the heart of what causes this, right? It all comes from inside. Okay, there's not some extraneous outside experience that is making you have a panic attack or is making you feel anxious. You are giving the power to the extraneous situation. You may have there are there are 2 genetic predispositions to anxiety and panic. But beyond that, most of the things that cause panic and anxiety, they're state of mind. They're your perspective. So let me give you an example of perspective. So there's an ancient philosophy called Ayurveda, which is thousands of years old, and I really have adopted a lot of their teachings and a lot of their philosophies because they're knowledge bombs, and they've completely transformed the way that I think and the way that I function every day. And a big part of that is perspective. So what I mean by perspective is, so in India, what they do with elephants is a baby elephant, they'll tie it to a tree with a chain for a few weeks, and then they'll tie it to the tree they'll take the chain away and replace it with a rope. And then after that, they'll take that rope and a few weeks later replace it with a string. And then eventually they'll take the string away, and that elephant believes 100% that it is chained to the tree. So take 2 fish, for example, put them in a fish tank, put a piece of glass in the middle of the tank. For a few weeks, take that glass away, and those fish will never go past that point because they believe that there's a wall there. It doesn't exist. Okay? So let's bring it into human terms. You and I go to an amusement park in front of a roller coaster. So I go on the roller coaster and I have the most amazing experience. I love it. I feel euphoric. I'm yelling, screaming, my hands are in the air. I'm like, woo, this is great. Yeah. Endorphins are released. I feel incredible. I feel invigorated. I get off the ride just saying like, oh my God, that felt so awesome. I love it. Incredible. You get on that ride and you are terrified. Absolutely petrified. Your heart is racing, your blood pressure is through the roof, you get nauseous, you throw up, cortisol, the stress hormone, is flowing through your body, adrenaline is pumping, your arteries are tightening. You get off that ride and you are absolutely 100% traumatized. Okay? So do you see the difference? Stress is a perception of your environment. Anxiety is a perception of your environment. And those things, it's the same ride. It's just two different perspectives, right? So you choose to be anxious. You choose to have panic. You choose. It's a way of dealing with fear. It's a way of handling fear. And fear is the core of everything that is manifesting itself in you physically now. So it's fear, and fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay? It's not, I'll say it again. Fear is false evidence appearing real. You know, when they say that term Eisenhower or something, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. It's true. There's nothing more true than that. But there are things you can do. There are action steps that you can take to help you to deal with your perspective. You can start to think about life differently. So let's kind of take a step back and think about who we are as human beings, right? So, and please don't take this the wrong way. And I wish you and everybody who's listening a very long and healthy life. But sure as anything, I can tell you right now, we're both going to drop dead someday, okay? We come into this world, and if someone would have come to me when I was a little baby and could somehow comprehend it when I came out of my mother's womb and said, hey, you're going to have this life, and there's going to be really good things that are going to happen, there's going to be really bad things that are going to happen. You're going to get married, you're going to fall in love, you're going to experience great joy, births of your children, but you're going to lose people you care about. They're going to die. Bad things are going to happen. There's going to be wars. There's going to be things. But, you know, we don't have to let them define us. We don't have to allow those things. And knowing that, and what I'm trying to get you guys to wrap your head around is that it's okay. All of it's okay. That these are normal things. If we all just lived a life that was filled with mediocrity and nothing good happened, nothing bad happened, we'd be bored out of our skulls, right? So we need the bad to appreciate the good. And it's very true. It's about perspective. It's about being an observer of your experience. So now, whereas I was when someone would say something to me that was hurtful, they didn't hurt me. I allowed them to hurt me. I don't choose to allow anyone to hurt me or affect me, and nothing in life can really affect me to the point where I'm sick or I could die. I mean, right? People can really say things, do things that can physiologically put you into a state where you can die, right? You've heard of people, old couples been around for 60 years together, married 70 years, and one dies, and how many times have you heard that? And a week later, the other one dies. Why? Because they're so emotionally connected. And it may be a bad example because it's kind of endearing. So we all like, oh, wow, that's so cute. That's so amazing. That's how I want to die, right? So there are worse ways you could die. But the point is that people have heart attacks all the time. You talk about men dealing with stress and the way that they handle stress. I mean, that is all about perspective. Perspective is it. Being that observer of life. So going through life, experiencing those things, but not allowing them into your heart, your soul to affect you. Knowing full well that good things are going to happen and bad things are going to happen. But when the bad thing happens, if you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop and allowing false evidence appearing real, fear to be like that hair trigger at the edge of your front of mind awareness, that you're always waiting, always in that state where you're like a cat when you know, if you like touch a cat the wrong way from the back, he'll jump and 3 feet straight up in the air. You know, those are the things that precipitate the physiological states of anxiety. Those high anxiety states cause all these physiological problems that you have, and you don't have to have them. And it's all about perspective. So that's the first part. The second part is breathing and meditation. And I know that anybody who's had panic or anxiety has gone and Googled, you know, what to do, and they say breathing and meditation. Well, I tried breathing, I tried meditation for years, and I was that guy who said, and you may be that person that's saying, I can't meditate. You know, I just don't get it. I can't sit still, and I got all these racing thoughts in my mind. And it wasn't until I went away to a retreat and actually had a a woman who was really good at meditation that kind of said a few things that completely changed, again, my perspective on what meditation is. Most people who try to teach you meditation want to teach it in a way that they were teaching it to a Gregorian monk who hasn't spoken 20 years and lives on a mountain somewhere in the Himalayas, right? Very few of us are those people. We can't have complete silence and quiet our minds to the point where we're pure, reached our pure inner selves. You can quiet your mind and things start to happen. But what you need to do is you need to allow those thoughts to come in. So when you meditate, and meditating is probably one of the greatest things that I've ever done to change me completely. So it's like a domino effect. So the physiology and the mental work hand to glove. The body is a mirror to the mind, and the mind a mirror to the body, right? You've heard that 1,000 times. It's true. Okay, so if you have one and not the other, then you can't get yourself into that state. So if you are empowered physically, that the mental doesn't get affected and vice versa. So when you meditate, from now on, what I want you to do, I want you to meditate today. You can go onto an app. I'll put some apps down at the bottom that are links that have helped me, that I think are amazing, that can help you as well to really start to quiet down your mind and slow down the thoughts. And that Mr. Negative that is constantly has that inner monologue that's going on that is causing you to have the panic and the fear, because that's really another thing we'll talk about. But what I want you to do is to meditate, and when you're meditating, you want to do a mantra, and you'll go over the mantra, and you want to focus on the breath. Go back to the breath. If your mind starts to race, what I want you to do is let the thoughts come in. Invite them in, as a matter of fact. Change that perspective on how everything you think you know about meditation, throw it out the window, and just invite the thoughts that, oh, maybe I left the oven on, or what do I have to buy? I don't have enough coffee and I got to order that, or whatever. Whatever those thoughts are in your head, of the normal human thoughts in today's society, you invite them in like a dog, like a puppy dog, or that comes up to your shin, rub him, give him a little pet, and then send him on his way. But allow the thoughts in, allow them to occur, because it will definitely change everything. And that's the game changer. That was the game changer for me, where I understand that we're not Gregorian monks, and we need to, just kind of allow that to happen. And it's very freeing. And over time, believe me, if you meditate every day for 30 days, and we're going to talk about this transformation that we're going to go through together. And today is the first day of that 30-day challenge, if you're willing to take it, right? Everybody's talking about the physical challenges where you're losing weight and doing that. Well, I want you to go on a 30-day mental challenge to rid yourself 100% of anxiety, fear, panic, and PTSD forever, okay? And part of that starts with meditation. And you may not feel it for the first few days, but believe me, if you do it every day, just 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. You can do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, or you can do 20 minutes in the evening, or 20 minutes in the morning. Just do some form of meditation every single day, and I guarantee you, after 4 or 5 days, you're going to start to feel differently. You're going to start to be more aware, more calm, and you won't be so dysregulated in your thought process. And all those things will start to impact. Okay, so the third thing that we're going to talk about today is stopping the negative self-talk. This is a big one. People, this is a real big one. So we all know Mr. and Mrs. Negative on our shoulder is constantly, whether you even realize cognitively that there's this negative voice in your head that is telling you that you're going to die, that you're going insane, that you're, this is going to just rule your life forever, and you should just stay in the house and crawl into your bed and go fetal for the next, 30 years. and never leave. And those are the things you have to acknowledge. You have to set up a mental stop sign. We're going to envision that. We're going to talk about a stop sign, a physical stop sign in your mind, that every time you start to acknowledge and listen for that negative voice that is saying anything whatsoever that is not 100% positive, you have to put up the stop sign and say no out loud if you can. Even if you're in public. I mean, I don't really care. I would just say it. But if, say it in your mind, just stop it and practice it, because it's like a groove in a record. You're going on that groove, and you're in there deep, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So it's very hard because everyone is dealing with stress, and everybody handles it in a different way. We all have stress thresholds. Mine might be a 7 out of 10. Yours might be a 6. So, but once you've reached that 6, you're useless. You're going to manifest in different physiological ways, whether it's panic attack, a rash, heart palpitations, any myriad of 100 different things, high blood pressure, these things that start to get to a point where they can really affect you physically and debilitate your life, and it all ends up affecting you. And the whole panic, I don't want to get too deep, but what happens is, if you have a panic attack in a movie theater, which nobody goes to movie theaters anymore, but when we used to go to movie theaters, I had a panic attack in a movie theater, a really bad one once, and I just avoided the movie theaters. And then I was in the supermarket once and had a really bad panic attack while I was waiting on the line, and I left. I ran out, and I never went back to a supermarket, because you start to close off your world. And your world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I've seen videos and documentaries on people who haven't left their bathroom in years. Literally. I'm not kidding. It's that, it could get that bad. And it's all self-engineered. So you need to become an architect of your future and reverse engineer. Start with the end in mind. And what is the end in mind here? The end in mind here is freedom from panic and fear, and living in a world where you're just blissfully happy most of the time. I mean, I'm literally blissed out like 90% of the time. People think I'm doing drugs or something. I'm just happy. I appreciate things. Every day above ground, there's 170,000 Americans today that are underground, that are 6 feet under right now. And I don't mean to be grotesque or anything, but I appreciate that I'm one of the lucky ones that has air in my lungs. I'm happy. I have health. I have my family. I appreciate all those things. I have an attitude of gratitude. And the body wants to be in a calm state a lot more than it wants to be in a panic state or a fearful state or an anxious state. You need to understand that if you could shut your brain off, your cerebral cortex, the part that is the thinking part of your brain, you're blinking, 15 times a minute. Your heart is regulated, is calm and relaxed, and it beats on its own. There's so many different systems. Your temperature is being regulated. Literally, so many different things are happening at once. Your blood is circulating through your body. You have hormones, a whole myriad of hormones being released, and all of those things have a natural tendency to stay in a stasis or a nirvana state where you're just calm. And you need to practice, like anything else, to keep yourself in that state, and it becomes easier and easier over time. Okay, so that little voice tends to do one thing that is prevalent in people who have high anxiety, panic disorder, and PTSD, is we catastrophize. Do you catastrophize? Do you take something, a situation, you're going to your sister's house for dinner tonight, right now, in the world of COVID. She lives in a state that has had an uptick in COVID cases, right? So that anticipatory anxiety kicks in, and you just have this amazing gift and an incredible imagination to put yourself in a state of panic prior to even going, because you believe that the worst scenario is the reality scenario, which 90% of what we worry about never comes to pass. That's just a statistical fact, okay? So, and I know it's easy for me to say, just, use the statistics and be a mathematician, but there's a lot of emotions and things going on there as well. But if you can start recognizing and almost laughing at the fact that when you think of things, acknowledging to yourself that, like, is this reality? Is this something that, or am I catastrophizing? Am I taking things to the nth degree of uncertainty and making it certainty, right? So those are things that we need to practice too. And we'll get more into that in other episodes, okay? But for today, those are things that you need. These are 5 cornerstones that if you focus on them, you will start to see the changes that you need, and will be able to literally wipe out fear, panic, PTSD, and anxiety from your lives forever. Okay, the fourth thing is get the heck out of the house. Okay, get off your ass and get off the couch, get out of the bed, push yourself, force yourself, go out for a walk, go hiking, be one with nature, put your hands in the dirt. Statistically, it's a proven fact that if you become one with nature, there is something that happens to you physiologically that makes it almost impossible for you to be depressed, anxious, and fearful. There's something that's been genetically engineered into us for hundreds of thousands of years. We are lacking that so much in society today. The world, there's a reason why panic and anxiety has been getting worse and worse and worse year over year for the past 100 years, because we're slowly becoming cyborgs connected to our cell phones we're spending an average of 10 to 12 hours on some form of electronic media every single day. And that's an absolute fact. I know it sounds insane, but it's true. And that just takes us away from being human, right? And we need to be human. We need to get out there. And when you're physical, you need to exercise at least a few times a week. If you can do 20 minutes a day, just get out there, walk, move. And what the problem is, the dynamic is, and my problem was, believe it or not, and I'll tell you, I'm not embarrassed to say it, but I had so much panic and fear that I was afraid that if I exercised, I would have a heart attack and die. Because there was that little voice inside that said, you're so sick and you have all these heart things and your heart is beating all this, your blood pressure is so high, if you exercise, you're just gonna die. Like, these are the things that I told myself that kept me from doing the things to get me in shape. That's like having that, you've heard that guy who says, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds, I'm gonna go to the gym to lose 30 pounds, but I'm not gonna go to the gym until I lose the first 5 pounds so that I can feel good going to the gym. But they never lose the 5 pounds, so they never go to the gym. So it's that mentality, that mindset that keeps us. And there's something with anxiety and panic that almost works against us to keep us from being physical. And the physical part, that when you exercise and you run, you've heard of the runner's high. When you have those endorphins released in your body, it releases a euphoric experience in your mind. And it's absolutely impossible to be depressed and to have fear when you're in that state, when those hormones are released. So get out there, get off your butts, and really start to become physical. Okay, that will definitely help you. It's huge, huge. Okay, and the fifth thing is you're gonna have to go to freaking war with anxiety, panic, fear, PTSD. You have to make a statement to yourself. You have to set a 30-day battle plan. And I'm gonna help you through that, okay? We're gonna work together. You're not alone on this. Whatever you felt, whatever you're feeling, believe me, I've been there. I've been there. I know exactly what it feels like, and it really sucks. It's so debilitating. And so it just sucks the life out of you, right? In every way. And all those mental feelings, all those panic, all that fear, when it manifests physically, it's not fake, it's real. I mean, these things really do take a toll on you not just mentally, but physically as well. So, but I'm gonna help break the cycle, and we're gonna set up a battle plan. We're going to war. We're going to war against panic, fear, anxiety, and PTSD. Are you with me? All right. So what I need you to do is subscribe to my channel, please. The algorithm loves it. If you like, please hit the like button, smash that like button, and hit the bell too. So this way you get notified when my next video pops up, so that we can go to war together and kick anxiety, fear, and panic's ass, okay? Together. I'm with you. Have a great one. Take care.